Welcome folks, back to the Thermoquad Carburetor. In this edition, this video if you will, we're going to get this thing apart for you and show you how it comes apart into the three basic large pieces. I'll go over it once again. Don't forget you got 10 screws. They're all identical in length and size. They look like so. Okay. And any of you been following my other videos will notice I keep pointing to these two screws that are in here. I've actually highlighted the heads of the screws with white chalk. That way you can see it. If you don't get those out, you start prying on this thing, it's going to be toast. It's no good for nothing after that. So make sure you get all 10 out. There's 8 around the outside and there's these 2 inside. Also in the last video I believe I was saying how to get this this link here out of this sector arm, which is controlled by the fast idle cam linkage, without having to take the whole shaft out. It's your call. If you want to go ahead and take the shaft out, you can just go ahead and you can just pull the shaft back this way and get the link out. But the reason I'm mentioning this is the little tricks that I've learned along the way, especially if you're working while the carburetor is on the vehicle, on the car, on top of the engine intake manifold. You don't want to be taking all this other stuff apart just to get in there to do a jet change or you know, to replace the special O-rings that seal the top plate, air horn if you will, to the float bowl itself. So this will save you a lot of time and headaches. You start losing small parts, especially when you're working under the hood of your car or truck. So here we go here. I've already pre-loosened these screws that I highlighted with the chalk, so make sure you got 10 screws on your workbench when you're taking this thing apart. You never want to pry on one of these things. The only reason that you'd have any kind of difficulty separating the 3 main pieces of this carburetor is because the gaskets are dry and they've kind of sealed, which I'll mention while I'm at it too. Is what I like to do when I rebuild any carburetor is I like to put some grease or oil or some anti-seize compound on the gaskets or gasket surface. That way you can get them out much easier. Oh, here we go. This one wants to be stubborn. There we go. Actually, a magnet on a stick. You got like a telescoping dollar store magnet on a stick. Well, just a magnet on the head of that while it's in there. You just pull it right out. But fortunately, I can't find mine right now. Okay, that's all. 8 around the outside, 2 on the inside. Okay, now I'll show you how to get this apart. I've already had this apart. The gasket's got a bit of oil and stuff on them, so this one will come apart easily. Whereas the carb you're working on has probably been sitting for years with someone who rebuilt it, even the factory. They just put dry gaskets on and seal it together, and it's just like glue. So sometimes you do have to use a little effort to get them apart, but just don't be using anything too heavy duty. So to get this link out of here, excuse me, without taking the shaft out, it's very simple. Just get a hold of it whatever way you can and get it balanced. And so you might have to fight the gaskets, but once you got them loose, it's just basically straight up and off. Straight up, but not off. Once you hit actually don't forget the fast idle cam screw has to be at its lowest position, like off all the steps of the cam, so that will bring that sector arm slot up as high as it'll go. So this top plate, you get it up there like so. Careful, there's floats and delicate parts in there. Just tilt it back, nice and gentle. Actually, a better place to hold this is in the choke opening itself. And then you just basically get back there and tilt it, whatever you have to do, and then there's the rod. So to get it out, you just basically spin that up there like that, and then out it comes. Excuse me. And then you just put that aside in a safe place. And I'll mention this about this top air horn plate, is if you're setting this down, never set it on this surface here. Never. You got floats. You got your floats, and they're quite a... You start bending them and things, then you can wreck the... Well, if you're doing the rebuild, it's not a big deal if you're putting new floats and needle and seats, but especially if you're resetting them after you've rebuilt it, say. So always set this thing upside down, and never set it on this surface itself. Always set it upside down and make sure nothing's going to fall on it. Okay, and then before we take this apart, I'll show you how to get the rest of this out. Okay, what you're going to have here is a baffle plate in the secondaries. It's just a stamped steel separator, if you will, for the secondary bore. It's It's just going to fall out if you turn this float bowl upside down anyway, so just put it to the side in a safe place. Okay, then there's only 2 other items on this particular carb model. And your car may have some extra things in it, but the basic ones, the way they go, are something like this. You're going to have the 2 O-ring seals in here. That seal, I'll show you here while we got it. Right here and right here, that's where these special O-rings that I'd mentioned probably in the past, they seal that surface down inside the this phenolic float bowl here. And if you don't have the seal in, or if the seals have deteriorated or not put in properly, you'll get a fuel leak, and oh boy, rich running car won't idle properly, all of that above. But what I found works for me really well is this, just out of a package of bamboo skewers, the kind that you'd use to put vegetables and meat, what have you, and barbecue on a barbecue. It's got one pointy end, so watch yourself, it's pretty sharp. The other end is dull, and I use both ends for, I can even show you as we go along. But anyways, you just get in there, this is what I like to use, and use the pointy bit, and then you can extract those special O-rings. They got grooves in them, so don't just try to use a regular one. It might work, but get these special ones. The better rebuild kits have the good ones. You can see this one's still rubbery and pliable. That's a good one. Some of the originals were like a leather or gasket material. They dried out and you had a leak for sure after a number of years of it sitting, especially if you didn't run the vehicle, they'd dry out. So you got one on each side there where I'm pulling them out here. Don't forget to put these new ones of these in when you rebuild the carburetor, or you're going to get that leak I'd mentioned. Okay, also to get the jets out, easiest way that I found, a nice fitting screwdriver, or if you're a professional, you probably have special jet tools that actually fit these jets, but a really good fitting screwdriver, you don't want to get one that's too small. Try to get one that you can get across the whole slot. So what I like to do when I take these jets out of here in the float bowls, is just break them loose so they're loose. And once they're loose, don't need the screwdriver anymore. Here comes something that I came up with. The pointy end of the bamboo skewer, it's got a nice little taper on it. Fits perfectly for carburetor jets. Speeds up. If you want to make time on these, you just poke them down in the jet till they're a snug fit. And then you just unscrew them like that and they stay put. There's one. Otherwise you'd end up fighting it with a screwdriver down there, or needle nose pliers, and turning the float bowl upside down and whatnot. So just poke it in there, give it a spin. Jets are in a nice safe place on the end of your barbecue skewer. Doesn't hurt anything. You've got a brass metering rod running around in there and rattling around in there anyway. It's going to do a lot more damage than this ever will. These don't hurt anything. Okay, that's pretty much it for the float bowl. In this particular model, there's no extra pieces at all. You may have some gasket pieces stuck here, especially if they were installed dry. You'd have to be very careful when it comes time to take it off, like a safety razor blade. Something like this with a safe back on it. You can get them at the dollar store. You just very gently scrape them off, but don't take any plastic with it. Okay, then if the gaskets, like these ones, these gaskets, they're all loose and everything, but yours will probably be stuck, so you just got to be careful and don't get crazy and pry on it or anything. Just be gentle with it and work it a bit at a time. So it just comes straight up and off. That's pretty much it for the float bowl. Flip it upside down. You'll have a gasket on there. Probably be stuck, but this one I've already had it apart, so I know. It's probably not even the original gasket there. I just had one that I had used that I could use for a demonstration. But just leave it in place for now. That's all there is on the bottom of this. I'll get in later detail about how to repair leaks or anything later. But a safe place to put this for the time being is the upside down top portion. That's where it fits anyway, so to keep this thing safe and not bouncing it around all over is just to simply put it back on there for the time being, unless you're going to be working on either one of the parts on the inside. So there, that keeps it in a nice safe place. I'll just push that out of the way. And then on to this. So about all that's remaining once the gasket is all off of there and everything is for this model, all there is the actuating lever and a pin for the metering rod tree. And there's the cam that actuates it. Pretty much I'll get into, I guess I could do this one while I'm at it. The choke pull off, you want to renew that. This one shot, you can see, like, unless the newer models had an air bleed in them, This one here, it's supposed to hold vacuum. Like when you push that down or apply vacuum to the fitting there, it's supposed to stay put. But you can see here I got it sealed off with my index finger on my left hand. I can push this one in and out. Well, you can see there's air leak, deterioration. Another thing to watch out for in the choke pull off is when it releases after it's been pushed all the way down. This one comes up crooked. You see that? See, it's coming up all over the place. A good one would probably come straight up and down, which is another thing to watch out for. But to get these choke pull-offs off, to put a new one on there, make sure you get the right model, that is. And basically all you have to do is get yourself a file, and right in here there's part of the aluminum base, aluminum sticking up as a pin, in the shape of a pin. And it's usually mushroomed over with a punch or something from the factory. So what I do is you just get a file, and it's soft aluminum on top of the steel bracket that holds the choke pull off. Just get a file in there whatever way you need to and file it right down to start hitting the steel on the choke pull off. Once you get it down that far, it should come off relatively easily. So all you have to do then is grab yourself a 5/16 box wrench, break the bolt loose, and then if you want to speed things up, you just get yourself a ratchet or just one of these. This is just a cheap one, 5/16 hex on the end. Take the bolt out that holds the choke pull-off bracket onto the base of the carburetor. Don't lose the screw, you're going to need that. And then you just wiggle and jiggle until this thing comes off. There's a choke pull-off. This one, you can use it for a paperweight or whatever, but hang on to your old parts. You don't want to lose any in case you have to use them to compare the new parts to that the parts man might be giving you. So there's this little pin that's still part of the casting there. So that's about as far as I'll go for this video here. Just make sure everything is not going to be in a place where it's going to get damaged. Put it in a safe place in a cardboard box or do something to keep it away from being damaged. So there you have it for the take apart part of it. In the future videos I'll be showing you little things to watch out for and adjustments, you name it. I've spent a lot of time on these things, so I pretty much know my way around them. So with all that said, take care, have yourself a nice day, and bye for now.